guys, what's up? It's been a long time. I haven't been shooting in the last couple of weeks because things have not been going so well physically, like from the health perspective of the whole family, and therefore couldn't post anything last week, and I'm really terribly sorry and I missed you guys. So welcome back to my channel, and today I am here to talk about a book that really blew my mind. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the book that I'm going to talk about today, I didn't know what to expect when I read the title of the book, and I just jumped into it without knowing much about what is happening in the book. And guess what? It turned out to be like one of my favorite books of all time, and it ended up in my forever list, and I just couldn't stop myself from recommending this book to you guys. So I finished this book yesterday and I was so excited. Yesterday night, actually late night, I finished this book and I was so excited. I wanted to talk. I wanted to sit here right now and give you all the details about this book. I wanted to talk about this book. So this book is none other than The Djinn Waits 100 Years by Shubnum. So this book is actually a historical fiction and a gothic fiction. That is all I got to know about this book when I jumped into this book. And while reading this book, I got to know that there are two timelines which we follow. The first being the current timeline, and the other being the 1930s, which is quite backdated. So the first feeling that I got after reading this book is nostalgia, guys. Nostalgia. This book is pure nostalgia. So here in this book we follow the Indian Muslim community of South Africa, and there is this house called Akbar Manzil, where this girl called Sana comes to stay with her father, and they are one of the tenants. She has lost her mother recently, and they are one of the tenants, and they have come to stay there with the other tenants of the house. So slowly and steadily we get to know the different tenants of the household. So there is a very old orthodox woman who keeps on cursing and keeps on getting angry on people and is always irritated on everyone and everything that is happening around her. Then there is this lady who's sweet and nice and gentle towards Sana. We also come across a piano artist who is a diva, a complete diva, and the way she talks, whatever she says, it makes so much sense. And then we come across a doctor who's very old and has lost his leg during the World War II, and he is also complete, the grandfather material, if you know what I mean. He's typically the grandfather material. And we also come across Pinky, who is the house servant and is a very interesting character. So she keeps on talking to herself in third person, and she doesn't even care to clean anything. She has left cleaning the household overall, and she keeps on watching Shah Rukh Khan movies and so on and so forth. So there are different type of characters, very unique characters thrown into this particular house called Akbar Manzil. Now Sana has a disturbing past, and she's struggling on her own. She doesn't talk much. She is a shy sort of a girl. She's ashamed of the shape of her chin and keeps on hiding it with her hair. She keeps a notebook with herself and continuously asks questions and writes whatever she feels at that moment is happening, or maybe a conversation which she has overheard. She keeps on writing that. So she's that kind of a person. So the east wing of Akbar Manzil is basically a storage sort of an area where the whole balcony or the whole corridor is filled with different things that people are dumping there, which they don't want to use at the dead of the night. And that place is completely filled with different sorts of things from different time zones, and Sana finds it very interesting. So she keeps on going back to the east wing of Akbar Manzil and finds different sorts of small trinkets and all, and she likes to look at them thoroughly, and she wants to predict who these things belong to and what is the history behind these things. So one fine day she comes up to the east wing and discovers a room, and there she opens the room, and she comes across a lot of different things of a particular woman who used to stay in this room. And the thing about Akbar Manzil is no one really knows the history behind Akbar Manzil, who used to stay, who were the actual owners, so no one knew. So Sana starts, digging things up, and slowly and steadily she comes to know about this beautiful background, beautiful past of Akbar Manzil, which was cruel, yes, but it was also rich with in color and animals and birds and exotic creatures and a beautiful love story. Okay, so she comes across these things, and there is also a Jinn in this house who is actually watching Sana discover all the past and digging up the past. The Jinn isn't that happy. Mostly it's not happy. It doesn't want Sana to stir up the old things and dig up the old dirt that was there in Akbar Manzil. So Akbar Manzil has a very brutal past, which the whole building as if tries to hide. I'm sorry guys if my voice is sounding a bit off, because I have a terrible cold, and therefore my voice is really down too. If I'm sounding like someone different, I'm really sorry about it. Okay, anyway, where was I? Yeah, so in this book, they talk about the house as if it's completely a living being. It talks about the cockroaches and the lizards and the teacups and the maybe the dust in the air. They're all living. This is how the author has described the house. It feels like the house has a life of its own, and it wants to keep the past hidden. It wants to keep the past completely in the shadows, and doesn't want this young girl to know about what has happened in the past. And this whole book, it has some magical realism in it, but this whole book, it's so beautifully written. I mean, I am in love with the love story here. I'm in love with the love story. I keep on saying I'm not a romance girly. I do not like romances, but I think somewhere down the line I'm wrong. I do like romances. I like romances written in this manner, or I like some matured romances. I'm so sorry. Instead of liking the romance of the teenage romances or the young romances where a girl meets the boys, both of them, they are not they are headstrong and they are enemies and they become lovers, or they are maybe office competitors who becomes lovers. I don't like those sort of books. I like romance book written in this manner. Here the romance is heartbreaking. So I'm not going to give you much details because I want you to feel exactly what I felt when I was reading this book. The only con of this book, I won't even say it's a con, guys, because the only con which I was talking about is the pace. The pace is very slow. The pace is very slow because but then again, this is not a con, because if the pace would have been faster, I wouldn't have liked this book. This book deals with the magical aura all around me when I was reading this book. So I think the slowness of this book is also very well executed by the author. I loved what happened in the past. I absolutely was clueless. Like I was going to dig into a romance of this kind, which ended up in a tragedy. So this is a tragic romance, and I was absolutely awed by what happened in the past. And between the current time and the past time, I definitely loved the past more. But I wasn't sure how this book was going to end, because where do books like this end? I don't know. This keeps on going. I didn't want this to end, but the way the author has pulled all the threads together to make this book end was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I mean, I can't suggest this book enough, guys. If you have not read this, please read. It gave me the nostalgic feeling of going back to school, where we used to read some rapid readers, or in prose from bigger novels. We used to get a little part of those prose, from the ninth and 10th standard. It gave me that feel. It would have been a great read during the school time as well. But I absolutely loved it. It got a 5-star rating from me, no doubt. This is ended up in my all-time favorite list. So yeah, I can't suggest this book enough, guys. If you haven't read this book. The way Shubnum Khan has actually incorporated the culture into this whole story. This is beautiful, guys. I can't say anything else. I mean, please read this book. Go. Well, with that, we come to an end to the video, and I really hope you read this, guys, because this book blew my mind, and I actually felt like really crying when reading this book. This book is so good. So yeah, until next time, see you again. Bye.